Anakin and Thrawn have just returned to Dominator. So what are your opinions on the humans in this galaxy? Said Anakin in a neutral tone. I believe they're in a desperate situation. Still, they do not seem all that different from a human in our galaxy. I wonder if it's a culture difference or a species difference. But they share language similar to basic. Regardless, we should probably assemble a fleet to head, said Thrawn. Sir, we are getting an incoming transmission outside the system. Said a female engineer. Patch it through, said Anakin with a calm expression on his face. A man appeared through the hollow. Meticulously tailored suit that whispered of both sophistication and danger. His eyes, a piercing shade of blue, seemed to hold the weight of unseen galaxies, obscured momentarily by tendrils of smoke curling up from a smoldering cigarette. Silver gray hair framed a face marked by a battle-worn scar, a testament to a life lived on the. Anakin demanded, who are you and why are you contacting us? As the man put away his cigarettes in the ashtray as the man spoke. Just call me the elusive man. As the man stood up. I had heard the most interesting of news, that apparently, humans not from this galaxy are here. Well, that's not the reason why I'm here to talk to you. The reason that I'm part of an organization called Cerberus. We are the head of espionage for the System Alliance, and I'm here to give you vital information for your next mission. As the man's eyes start glowing, there, I sent you all the information you need. And one more thing, the man said as he pulled out an e-cigarette out of his pocket and started lighting it. He took a puff of smoke as he spoke. I have an operative called Miranda Lawson. She will be on Omega waiting for you. As the man gestured towards Anakin. Why should I go there, he asked curiously. As the man took another puff on his smoke and said, it's because it's something you want and quite an abundance. In fact, like I said before, you should focus on the mission on Shanki. As the holo ended, what's your opinion on this, asked Anakin. Thrawn replied, so far we don't have enough information to go on, but for now we should listen to what he said. Agreed, said Anakin as the conversation ended. Scene break. Padme, will 50 million credits get me a new hyperdrive to get out of this planet? Well, we can say that's a deal, but we need to discuss why you brought GD here. Analia said with a stern expression on her face. Why gone? We were just protecting the Queen, and the only planet we could land and was in the Imperial space, so really we had no choice to come here. Well, we still expect some compensation for this, if you can give us some prisoners over to us of our choosing, and I think that could be quite a good compensation, said Analia with a smile. We want you to release Dirge to us and Cad Bane. You can't be serious about handing over these two dangerous prisoners to Imperials. Said Obi-Wan with an angry expression on his face. It's the only reason why we won't be in prison in return. I don't think you want to be sharing a prison cell with me for many years. Fair enough, said Obi-Wan reluctantly. Analia quickly, not forgetting what you wanted to tell Padme. If the Republic doesn't tell you, you could always join the Empire. We can drive Trade Federation off your planet quite easily. I must respectfully decline your offer, Miss Analia, but I'll keep this in mind just in case the Republic does not help our people, said Padme with a smile. Very well, but do keep in touch just in case, as she handed her holo number. Said Analia, like she would ever do that, said Obi-Wan with a smug expression on his face. On the Dominator. Thrawn and Anakin stood on the bridge observing the fleet. They just sent a few probes into Neptune to scout for possible mining sites. In the meanwhile, they're organizing 2,500 ships go to Shanki. So is the plan all set, said an eager Anakin. Everything should be in order now, said Thrawn. Let's take the executor. Shanki agreed, as both leaders walked to the elevator to take a shuttle. As the elevator doors opened, they were marked you towards the shadow. As Anakin entered the shadow, he went into the captain's seat. As he moved his fingers across the screen, I used his right hand to press buttons. As smoke came out from the acceleration system, the ship started to take off. After then it flew out of the hangar. The shadow went towards to execute the rest they want to, but they took the elevator straight to the bridge. As we were ready to relay the orders, Thrawn and Anakin went past all of the saluting engineer. As Thrawn stood on the bridge, I see activity communication to the fleet. The rest of the fleet, you can ignore this, just hold your position. In this solar system, but for Task Force Alpha, consisting over 2,500 ships and one class superstar destroyer, will be leading it to Executor. We are heading into enemy territory. We are fighting an enemy not of this galaxy, but know this, we will beat these aliens, and we will drive them back where they came from. As all of ready your arms, prepare for battle, because we show this aliens were true. Imperial might means activate your hyperdrives. This task force will be named Task Force Alpha, as Task Force Alpha entered hyperspace. On Shanki, Admiral Decimus of the Turian hierarchy stood probably on his bridge as his Victory was almost assured as he saw the destroyed fleet of the System Alliance. As he spoke to himself, these primitives should have just surrendered to the hierarchy, and this is what they get. We would have gotten their race to the stars of course on the hierarchy supervision, but T should be a great honor for them, he thought as he gave a Turian scowl. That is one young John. Shepard was a grueling battle, his M99 saber assault rifle was firing upon a squad of Turians as he threw a grenade at the sport. It was a small explosion, fiery death, instantly incinerating the Turians as his commander went towards him. We had just gotten our new orders. The Turians have captured a planetary communication system. We have to retake that communication system. If we're going to get the support we need to drive these bastards out of this planets. As the platoon was moving out as Shepard, they were going through ruins off a destroyed building trying to stay hidden from the enemy. As a squad of Turians was patrolling the street, they had strict order to fire upon anyone that was moving. As the squad was trying to stay out of sight, Shepard broken wall. I used hand signals to form squad. It's a way through here. They managed to sneak into an enemy camp. Wait, you see that? Pointed one of the squad members. That's a mech, as the captain said. We could use this distorted space as a squad. Was in agreement, Shepard. You go, said the captain pointing at Shepard. Alright, he said. I see. Was sneaking behind some boxes as he saw a Turian walking towards him. As quickly hid Turian, made a bunch of clicking sounds as he turned away, went towards back to his group of friends. As Shepard sighed in relief, he started to move towards the mech as he raised both of his arms as he used both his arms to pull himself up towards the mech. As he moved his hand across the mech as it was a stolen Alliance mech. Shepard climbing the mech as he was moving his arms across the mech fast. As a Turian guard noticed him as he was beginning to make roaring sound. As more Turians begin to show up as they start firing upon the mech, he was looking for the start button as his squad started to fire upon the Turian. Damn it, Shepard, get your ass moving, as he shot a Turian in the that's the both ricocheted. Hit a fuel canister, blew up the surrounding area, the firing inferno. As for now, the entire base was alerted as he could hear more Turian running towards the sound of the explosion. Men, get into position, said the captain in a commanding tone as they went into the positions. Shepard, you better get this thing running now or we all be dead. As the mech raised from the ground, Shepard went towards position. Turians start to show up as Shepard raised the mech's cannon and started firing. It was tearing apart the Turians as one of them got a RPG and fired towards the mech. RPG, the captain yelled. Shepard managed to turn on the shields. That's one of the squad member managed to hit the Turian as he fell off the building. It was about fire an RPG. But it was too late as he fired it as he falling inadvertently hitting a squad of Turian and was moving in their positions. Squad move, yelled the captain as they stared to move out, clearing out the camp. Ask them managed to get to the main camp. Shepard hopped out of the mech. Good job, men, take your position and prepare for breach. As they all started to line up on the wall, take in the position. CAPTAIN 1, prepare flashbang 2, 3, as one of the squad member threw the flashbang as Shepard turned the corner and shot one of the Turian. As the captain used his combat knife and lowered on the Turian's neck, blood start to gush out. As the leader of this camp start to make a bunch of clicking noises, Shepard raised his pistol and shot him in the killing the bird as they start the search office for any valuables. Information. Shepard found something, sir, I found something. As the captain went towards him, what did you find? He in a commanding tone. Shepard, it looks like a galaxy map, sir. Let me see. T had as the captain placed the map on the table and started to decipher it. It looked like they had highlighted some of the important planets of the Turians hierarchy, but one stands out of all of them. Palaven, it's the name of their homeland, said the captain said coldly. I see. Immediately, said we need to get this piece of information directed to the Alliance. Come on, we have to get out of here, the captain said. Shepard, you go get in that mech, meet up at the front gate when you're ready. We're going on a frontal assault towards the communication tower. Men, load up, find anything you have and meet us at the gate when you're ready. As they all understood their orders and gathering equipment for the coming assault at the front gate. Are you all ready? As they all said informative in unison. Okay, then move, said the captain as Shepard mech was taking forward position. The sound off the mech stepping on crushed rubble, car and pieces. Their entire city we're in was completely ruined. Shepard could see a Turian cruiser descending towards as it started to bombard a small town outside the city. As Shepard audio device start to pick up sounds of screams, but they suddenly started to fade away as always left, and it was just fire and ruined as the cruiser started to float up towards base again. These bastards, he thought, killing innocent civilians for no reason just to prove a point, as he thought these Turians are barbarians. As the squad was approaching the communication tower as the Turians started to open "Fire on the squad, Shepard, go and take most of the shots, we use you as cover as we move," said the Captain Shepard, as Went took the brunt of the damage as one Turian sniper shot one of his squad member in the chest, instantly killing the man. "We got man down," yelled one of the squad member, ignoring "we got a job to do," said the Captain Shepard. Mech missiles hit the building. The explosion blew up the wall as a bunch of Turians fell off as the captain raises rifle and starts shooting at the windows, taking them off one by one. Ask for slowly approaching the entrance as another Turian had a Rido and started to make a bunch of clicking sounds, and a few moments later enemy bombers are flying towards the position. Captain yelled, "Get down." As everyone except Shepard managed to get down, it was a direct hit as the missiles fell down. I had destroyed anything in the radius, burning Turians up. Luckily for Shepard, he managed to raise his shield just in time, so he was mainly unscathed, but now the mech had no shields as they keep fighting through toward the communication tower. As one Turian threw a grenade at the mech, disabling it as the bird was about to fire upon the disabled mech to kill Shepard, the captain brought out his rifle and started to fire upon the Turian position as the squad member with the sniper managed to get a lucky shot on the Turian as the plasma burned Turian's head in and out. "Well done, squad," the captain said happily. "Now let's move in." As Shepard jumped out of the mech, he grabbed his assault rifle as they were moving through the building. As one of the Turian tried to sneak on one of the squad members, Shepard managed to hear him as he turned around, sent flurry of bullets towards the Turian, got hit some places, but he was alright as the captain went towards the downed enemy. As he pulled out his knife, he slowly crouched down closely towards the Turian's face and he asked, "Who was your leader?" As the Turian stayed silent, the captain grabbed Turian hand as he lowered his knife in a quick manner, stabbing it on his hand. As the Turian started to howl in pain, "The next one will be your eye," said Captain menacing. As pointed his knife towards his eyes to make his point even clearer as the Turian a bunch of clicking sounds as the captain gets tired of it as he just stabbed him in the throat. Blood was oozing out as the captain stood up and cleaned his knife. "It seems these barbarians don't know how to speak properly for now. When you don't have a translate that we won't be able to communicate with them." As the squad understood, "Now move out to communication controls," as all of them went towards the elevator and went in. The elevator door is open. As captain ordered Shepard, "Get the tower running as we will cover you," he said in with no room for questions tone. Shepard, "Yes sir." As Shepard started to get working on fixing the communication power as one of the squad members Turian coming up with a radio and started clicking sounds, but I was even faster as before as a transport ship carrying a bunch of Turians blew one of the windows and the Turians started to flood the communication room as the captain ordered his school to take a defensive position and hold these Turians off long enough to communications to go on. As one of the Turians was moving in as he pulled out a minigun and start firing upon the squad. "Get down," the captain yelled as everyone jumped out of cover as the captain ordered, "You must protect Shepard at all cost." As the captain yelled, "How much longer?" "Only a few more moments, Shepard. That's all the time we need," captain said in sarcasm. As Turians was going down in a dozen as one of the squad member got shot in the heart, instant killing the man. "We got another man down here." As his only one squad never left. "That's with the captain." IC pulled out the RPG and fired upon a group of Turians, killing them instantly as a fiery inferno it's approached them. But soon after you got shot by a sniper rifle coming from one of the Turians' gunship that's approaching them. "How much longer? You don't have a lot of people left. It's only me and you now," the captain yelled. Shepard, wait, I got it," yelled Shepard back as this is the last order for me, ordering a evac." "But sir, just do it," said the captain. As Shepard did what he was told. "This is Lieutenant John Shepard. I requested immediate evac. Do you copy?" As all heard was a bunch of static. "I do, read me. Am Lieutenant John Shepard. I request immediate evac. Do you copy?" As a man came through. "This is Imperial Shutter 124. Where is the current position?" As Shepard, "Am at communication tower 057. Do you read me?" "Roger that. We ate in 2 minutes." As the man said another line. "Got it." "And what is this Empire?" he asked, confused. "That doesn't matter now. You want to be evacuated or not?" As he said, "Yes I do. I'm about to talk about this later." "Lieutenant John Shepard, you have to talk to my superior for that." As the man cut the line from the other side. Shepard. As Shepard grabbed this assault rifle and start firing up on the terrains. 1 minute 8. As the captain ran out of ammunition as he grabbed a grenade. "As you look towards Shepard, I promote you to captain now." "Shepard, no captain," yelled Shepard. As he threw the map to Shepard. "Brings this to the Alliance," yelled back. As the captain ran into a squad of Turians are about to overrun the position of a grenade. As he jumped towards the squad, he got shot multiple times in the leg, arm and shoulder, but ignored the pain as he fell down to the ground. He pulled the pin and a few moments later the entire room started to burn up and blow. That's the explosion killed anyone in the area. As Shepard jumped into cover, what Shepard saw which is a bunch of ruin, but he did not much time to think as more Turians started to show up as he was about to run out of as well and about getting overrun as a gunship came out of nowhere to start firing upon the Turians. As white cloud metal armored soldiers jumped out with their jetpacks and start firing upon the Turians as one of them grabbed Shepard as he spoke target secured as he was starting to jetpack backwards to his transport. That's one of the sky troopers placed a bomb. As he was jetpacking backwards transport, the ironclad soldier started repeatedly banging the transport, begin to fly away all Shepard could see as the tower begin to blow up as the explosions as it was destroying the tower structure as was falling apart and begin from the top and explosion slowly went down to the bottom and eventually the entire tower was being consumed in flames and explosions, and when Shepard looked up, he saw a fleet of thousands of ships that appeared out of nowhere as he finally blanked out. Admiral Decimus demanded who are these people to interrupt his victory. As he yelled, I want an estimation of that fleet, damn it. The new enemy fleet has no traces of Element Zero, and I think I have no ties with the humans. Admiral Decimus slammed his fist on his desk. Sir, over 200 ships have just entered the system as one of the Turians. They're all Dreadnought class ships. As Decimus' jaw dropped, how even possible? No matter, prepared to fleet and engage the enemy. I don't want these newcomers to ruin my great victory. As Decimus was confident he could defeat the newcomers because he had a fleet of 750 and they have only 200 ships, 10 cruisers and 20 destroyers to protect the rears. But before Decimus would have said more orders, as one of the engineers yelled, the new fleet, the new enemy has over 2,000 ships that had just entered the system. Decimus was shocked. What, how's that possible? They have no traces of Element Zero, and they managed to master FTL without the use of the mass relays. As one of the Turians said, sir, they have just brought a ship beyond Dreadnought class. What? Decimus yelled back as he looked at the window. He's like, dear Paladin, I want you to engage the enemy fleet. Do not let closer to us. If they do, they'll tear our fleet apart. Imperial Pav. I want 50 star destroyers to engage the fleet. I want around 200 ships to go close to the planet. We need to send in ground troops to assist the troops of the line, said Thrawn. As Clark, the enemy fleet has no traces of a hyperdrive or any turbo lasers. It appears to use a variant of slug shots. As Thrawn, I want 400 of our ships to head into that mass relay. We need to cut off their escape methods as ships were departing to their positions. Now engage the ship head on. Do you want to tear that fleet apart? Thrawn ordered. Launch the TIE defenders, Thrawn ordered. Concentrate fire on the cruiser approaching our position. As the superstar destroyer began firing upon the cruiser, and a few later that would have been left of that cruiser was a wreck. Of Turians, diaresis. Decimus yelled, get me a status report of that cruiser and check for survivors. As Decimus stared out of the window, who are these monsters, he said to himself. As one of the engineers said, sir, scam shows there are no remains of the ship and there appears to be no survivors. The engineer said sadly, no matter, protected dreadnoughts, we cannot afford to lose them. I want 20 cruisers to start evacuating forces of Shanki now. Demanded Decimus. Imperial Pav. As one of the engineers said, sir, appears that their cruisers are defending the dreadnought-sized ships. What are your orders? I want the TIE defenders a target to destroyers. I want no survivors, and I want the TIE fighter and TIE bombers to head into the planet and give them covering air support for the ground troops, ordered Thrawn. I want you to fire on those cruisers, Thrawn said in a calm tone. As Thrawn looked out of the window as he saw another 50 enemy cruisers getting obliterated, the explosion inverting destroyed 20 destroyers. As the TIE defenders were engaging the enemy fighters, they were having the easy time picking slow-moving enemy targets after managed to quickly handle them, proving the Imperial pilots were more experienced and their technology even more. As a squad of TIE defenders managed to break into enemy lines as they fired the torpedoes, destroying another cruiser. Of Turians, diaresis. Sir, their weapons are bypassing our shields, they're tearing our fleet. One of the engineers yelled. Decimus knew he couldn't retreat even if he wanted to, then he had to cut off his retreat and he cannot leave his forces on Shanki. As he made his choice, all ships regroup with my capital ship. Ground Force Imperial Pav. Over 5 million shuttles were carrying over 30 million troops down into the planet's surface. Anakin was leading the forces. They quickly established a landing zone. Customer followed me, and more heavy troops and Knights of Zakul and Shadow Guards were dropping down, but it doesn't before they had a forward base to plan their operations. Anakin led a force over 500,000 soldiers. They made quick work of the enemy after progressively fighting for the city, and they managed to link up with their lines, soldiers that still were alive. They formulated the counter-offensive plan. They were fighting towards the planetary defense shield, the sky troopers tearing Turians with no issue, proving their mobility and superior firepower is too much. For the Turian defender, they managed to recapture the planetary defense shield, and it reactivated, preventing any more orbital bombardments. As combined Imperial forces and Alliance forces managed to break into the government complex, the head of the Turian occupation force of Shanki. They managed to fight through the streets, killing or capturing a bunch of Turians. As most of the governmental complexes are to capture, but a combined Imperial and Alliance forces as Anakin led a charge into the main government building. They fought room by room, as Anakin was cutting down soldiers using force abilities like lightning, force drain and forest push, equipped with his purple lightsaber, and donning the Mandalorian mask, instantly striking fear into his enemies as he managed to break into the general's command center. Anakin force pushed the door open as a few N7 forces start from flashbacks, and breaching the room, Anakin had his lightsaber race as he was deflecting all the shots back towards them. They may be slug bullets, but Anakin is concentrating his force powers on his lightsaber, so he's able to deflect physical objects. As one Turian guard try rush at them for bayonet, Anakin froze the Turian in place without even looking, was crushing their bones. Eventually the Turian fell limp as one N7 showed the Turian in the head, instantly killing. As the general tried to raise his pistol to shoot Anakin, Anakin merely deflected it and quickly made his way towards the general, and quick emotion was lightsaber cut the weapon in half as a general fell back in fear. Anakin merely lifted his hand and a general was lifted in air, being forced as Anakin put on the newly created translator. Start speaking order, a full surrender of your forces. On the ground now, he demanded, leaving no room for negotiations as the Turian was struggling to breathe, so he's nodded informative that he understood as Anakin dropped the general on the ground. As the Turian general went to the planetary communicator as he spoke. "Who are you?" he said. "We are the Empire," Anakin stated coldly. As the Turian general spoke, "All forces of the hierarchy, I order you all to surrender. We have lost this battle in this war. It is currently time Imperial forces is occupying most of Shanxi. With the backing of the Human Alliance, we stand little chance of holding this planet. Our order, all soldiers of the hierarchy, immediately drop your arms and surrender to your nearest camp. You will be processed there, disarmed, given clothing, and you will be brought to presence around this planet. I urge you not to defy the Imperials or the Human Alliance. That's all. General Victus out." As everyone started to share, as you can see System Alliance soldiers running around the streets firing a gun in the air as the surrendering Turian was being forced into a line by Imperial sky troopers as they begin to march through the streets. As civilians were from rocks and stones at the Turian. As some civilians were calling them monsters. But the sky troopers were keeping order as TIE fighters started to fly overhead playing the Imperial march. And legions of Knights of Zakuul were marching another row of Turians. As Anakin stood on the very top of the governmental building, he called it a personal shuttle as it came and landed down. He quickly used to force to bring the general with him. I still went into the shuttle and departed to the executor. As a few Imperial star destroyers started descending to the planet as they all landed on the landing zones, I said lower the ramps. Rows of Turians were being marched through the ramps as any form of resistance was being dealt harshly. The remaining System Alliance forces were helping the Imperials, rounding up any stragglers as the N7 and the Shadow Guards would quickly searching building for any rogue Turians. "Turians Pav." But Decimus yelled. "So are you telling me that General Victus surrendered all ground forces to the enemy?" As slammed this fist on the table, nearly breaking it. "Yes sir," a nervous female Turian said as Decimus started to roar like an animal as he was flashing the entire bridge. It was throwing stuff, punishing anything that he saw, tearing machinery apart. As he finally stopped, I ordered all ships break for the mass of the relay. "Sir, we have a problem." Female Turian Wada yelled back. "We are being boarded." Wada yelled in rage. "What kind of incompetent idiots? How does this happen? I want all soldiers on the ship to deal with intruders," as he slammed on his fist on the table, making it finally break. "Sir, that's a problem with it," the female Turian said, nervous expression on her face. "They're outside the bridge as the door exploded as a group of armored metal warriors started flooding the ship. "Decimus, defend this ship at all cost," he yelled, pulling out a pistol and start shooting at the enemy. He managed hit one in the stomach, but there was no reaction on the enemy's part. "Decimus, what kind of sorcery is this? They're not going down," they yelled. As the Mandalorian commandos were cutting down the Turians in the bridge. flew directly at Decimus. He dodged the incoming warrior. As Decimus was getting into a fighting position, the Mandalorian got out in life and he started engaging Decimus. He quickly made a twirling motion with his knife. He an upper slash towards the Turian eye, managing to cut it. Decimus roared in pain as he jumped on the Mandalorian, then starts trying to cut his face open, but instead, he was kind of delivered a left hook by the armor-cladded warrior. Decimus was stood for a moment as the Mandalorian took an opportunity to shoot carbonite freezing at him, freezing Decimus completely. As he stood up and put on his translator, "Anyone else want to die today?" the Mandalorian said coldly as everyone on the bridge in unison, "I don't want to die because of that crazy planet." All of the Turians dropped their weapons as they raised their hands on air, signaling their surrendering. The Mandalorian started to cuff them as the Mandalorian soldier pulled out the hollow communicator. "Sir, it's done. The flagship is under our control now. Imperial POV. Thrawn Good now opens fire on the other ships with this new flagship that we have just acquired from the enemy. Very well then, as Thrawn quickly order these ships to concentrate fire on the cruisers. As a hail of turbo lasers starts firing off the ships, they start incinerating the enemy fleet until it was nothing left of it. The only ship standing was the dreadnought that they just had to captured. As Thrawn went this way towards the color communicator. As for Anakin, he quickly let the general into his cell, threw him in there. Anakin quickly made his way to the hollow communicator as Thrawn was waiting for him. And another man. Thrawn spoke, "A system is completely in our control. Now enemy forces are destroyed or captured. We're currently loading the prisoners to the Dominator to have them all interrogated for information," said Thrawn. Admiral Hackett's good. "This is just the start of the information we have just gotten from this young captain," as he made eye contact with Shepard. "We now know the homeworld of the enemy," said Hackett's. "And now with the capture of their admiral and general, you should have vital information about their homeworld defenses. Are you ready to end this war?" said Hackett's. "We are," said Anakin. "Okay, the 5th Fleet feeding you on the assault of their homeworld." Anakin quickly said, "Thrawn can handle this, and in my stead of all the commanding the forces ground army air." Red-skinned man of black tattoos on his face and body, horns on his head, wearing black robes, and to the room as Anakin pointed at, "Darth Maul will deal with the ground invasion." As Maul had a feral grin. As Anakin, "I must go to Omega and talk with a certain pirate queen." "Very well, take Commander Shepard with you. He is a N7HGE, is the best of the best that Alliance can offer you." Commander, the man said in confusion. "Yes son, he earned it. You're promoted now as Shepard. I will do my absolute best honor this title," HB said. In determination. "If that's all concluded, us head into our tasks." As Anakin looked at Maul. "You have no restrictions, do as you wish," Anakin said as Shepard and Anakin left the room. As Maul thought in his head, "This is going to be fun," as he gave feral grin and left. The Turians have no idea what they're about to face. Make sure you like and subscribe and make sure you comment for any suggestions.